part of the devil's organization.
That's right.
All of the pastors, all of the ministers, all of your Bible schools are all an abomination in the sight of God.
What is going to happen to all the people that are not a part of the Watchtower Society?
They are going to be exterminated.
Destroyed at
October 1st, 1975.
But that's past, and we're all sitting here.
They
so
made
now,
a mistake.
where does it say that?
In the
March, April, Watchtower.
August 15th, 1968 Watchtower, it tells all Jehovah's Witnesses, now this is 1968, they're telling all Jehovah's Witnesses to look forward to 1975. But they also told them to look forward to 1874, 1879, 1881, 1914, 1918, 1925, and now they have that new disease called loss of memory. They can't remember ever saying anything about any date for Jesus to come. And here it is in their publication.
What did they say was going to happen in 1975?
That the earth would be exfumigated of everybody
And
other than Jehovah's Witnesses. So you must get into the ark with Noah and all the animals before 1975.
Into the organization.
Yeah, it was chronology that they arrived at that date. They claimed that mankind will only be upon this earth for 6,000 years. There has to be a 7,000-year period in which the 1,000-year reign of Christ has to come. So they said that 1975, October 1st, would be the end of 6,000 years of man's existence. So according to their own chronology, Armageddon should have come before that so that the millennium could begin then. And
Mr. Franz apologized for 1975 because a lot of people sold their homes, ran up their master charge, and cashed in their life insurance policies because they wouldn't need anything and they'd just like to leave a bill for 1976.
Okay.
He has come up with a new date, however, in the last graduating class of Gilead. Gilead is their missionaries that they send out every 6 months, and he intimated several times that the world is going to end prior to 1988.
Okay. Now, Bill, why don't you tell the folks what your position has been in the Jehovah's Witnesses?
I was born at a very early age to two Jehovah's
to be
Witnesses.
close to your mother.
Yes.
All right.
And I grew up through the organization, starting out with short pants, knocking on people's homes and asking them, do they have an immortal soul? One lady said, what? I said, do you have an immortal soul? She says, she didn't know for sure, and I told her that she didn't have an immortal soul, and she says, oh, yes, I do. Well, I said, Ezekiel 18:4 says you don't have an immortal soul. Well, as I grew up through high school and finished high school by refusing to salute the flag, refusing to eat anything cooked in aluminum pots, refusing to get married, refusing to smoke, chew tobacco, or get drunk,
Or celebrate Christmas, or
celebrate
birthdays.
Christmas or Easter, not allowed to vote, serve on a jury duty. When I was 17 years old, I was invited by the president of Jehovah's Witnesses to work in God's visible theocratic organization, which to the Watchtower is the secret place. In Matthew 24:24, Jesus says that these false prophets will have a secret place. That means that they're going to be able to go to a place so that they could talk to angels to get information, superhuman information. And then 1950 is when I entered the secret place, which is 124 Columbia Heights, Brooklyn, New York. No secret anymore.
And how long were you there?
8.5 years. My first job was washing dishes. The second one on the next day was being a waiter, handing food to the president of Jehovah's Witnesses, to the legal counsel, making hot coffee for them. And then within about a year, I was working in the service department. Now, the service department is where you answer questions. My section was Mason-Dixon line south through Texas. That would include Tennessee. So people in this area who would be asking from the kingdom halls questions, or if they were disfellowshipping, someone was disfellowshipped, they had a Supreme Court to go to. I, at the age of 20, was answering marital problems and questions from the headquarters, because information from heaven via angels somehow permeated my brain, went down the spinal column, around the elbow, on my fingertips, through the typewriter.
And what you typed went into the presses, and when it came out in the Watchtower magazines, through the materials that were printed, at that point, it was God's truth.
Right. Service department in 1952 was located on the 9th floor. We would have editorial meetings as to what was going to be in the next issue of a little internal magazine called Kingdom Ministry. And I remember one time we were discussing something, and it got into a little bit of an argument. Mr. Knorr at that time, who was the president, got up from his chair, walked over to the door, and he says, "You can argue about it here as long as you want to. Once you get it thrashed out and it comes off the 6th floor, and the 6th floor is the printing press. Once it's off the printing press," he says, "it is the truth." He made it very short. Once it's off the 6th floor, it's the truth.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to find out how the rest of you fit in to this. We have one man that was answering the questions for everybody south of the Mason-Dixon line in all of America for the Jehovah's Witnesses, and we want to find out the other positions that you folks held. We'll do that when we come right back. Thank you for tuning in to the John Ankerberg Show tonight. Most of the time we have both sides represented. I want you to know that in the past we've done programs with the leaders of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and we actually invited them to the program tonight. For proof that they were invited, I'd like you to listen to this.
Hello.
Hello?
Is this a Jehovah's Witness church?
Yes.
Is this an elder or?
Yes.
All right. Do you know that you're speaking to a live audience? Has anybody told you that?
No.
We just want to make sure that, you know, while you're speaking, that it's being recorded and that other people are listening. Do you still mind talking to us? We have some questions, some serious questions we'd like to ask Jehovah's Witnesses. Would you like to answer some? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hung up.
Okay,
that was no.
We'll try that again. We'll try that again. What we have going is that we are calling a list of leaders in almost the 3-state area to try and have somebody answer our questions. We have actually called the president of the Jehovah's Witnesses. He refused to talk with us on the phone. We have had 3 leaders that have at first said they would come on this program, all right, and then called us back, and each one of them canceled out. And this can be proved very easily by checking with the Chattanooga Free Press, which actually talked with the people that said they were going to be on this program. But they did not want to debate these issues. They did not want to present their evidence. All right, we're back here, and I want to ask you gals, something that came up through my mind while you're talking, Bill, was the fact that I know you and Joan are married. If marriage was forbidden of everybody, how in the world did you guys get married?
The Watchtower very clearly came out and said in 1938 that we were not to marry.
Everybody was not to marry.
No one was allowed to marry. Of course, that's a fulfillment of the prophecy made by the Apostle Paul to Timothy, where he said that the false prophets would forbid marriage. In the November 1st, 1938 Watchtower, it says, should they marry? No is the answer supported by the Scriptures. Now, in 1952, the president of Jehovah's Witnesses, Nathan Homer Knorr, married. So
just out of the blue, just got married.
Yes. No direct instructions from heaven. It just happened. So since he married, we thought it would be all right if the president married, that we could marry. So I asked Joan if she would marry me.
Joan, how many years have you been a Jehovah's Witness?
I was all my life. In fact, it was the only religion in our family for 4 generations. My great-grandmother began with the ministry of Pastor Russell, and it passed down through 4 generations. And as it passed down, it intensified till my father and mother were very, very active, began the congregation that is in our area of Pennsylvania. And I grew up believing it was the only right religion. It was the truth. It was God speaking through that organization, and I wouldn't have thought of questioning any of the doctrines of Jehovah's Witnesses. I accepted them as the truth, and I felt I had enough scriptural proof to believe that that was true.
What was the thing that then started you doubting?
Okay, I dedicated my life at age 13 by water baptism to Jehovah, and I did love Jehovah very much. To me, he was only God, and I therefore wanted to devote my life to him. And consequently, I ended up at Watchtower headquarters also in 1954 and spent 4 years there, and that's where I met Bill. And it was while I was there where I felt there should be an intensity of love, because this is where the leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses are. I saw just the opposite.